Welcome to Daddies the Podcast, featuring Eric and Greg. Join them each week as they hang with a new guest to talk about who they are, their why, and the stories that come up along the way. Thank you for being a part of the Daddies community.
We've done episodes before where the individual's internet may not be like that great. And I think it was like early on in our career, and Eric was like, all right, well, bye. So then I sat there with the dude for like 3.5 hours.
I didn't need to be there.
And he was, I think it was like New Mexico or somewhere. And like, so it took 3.5 hours. And it's really hard when you don't know the person to talk for 3.5 hours after just about like, and it was like, I was super sick. So it was just like one of those things where I was like, man. So now we've learned that when people leave, or if like they have like a slow internet connection, they can actually just leave the app open and it will still like upload. They don't actually have to be sitting in this lobby with me, unless of course someone wants to sit in this lobby with me and
hang out with you for 3 hours.
Yeah.
What did you guys talk about for 3 hours?
Dude, it was like, so what are you getting into this weekend? And it's like, I didn't know the person. So it was like, oh, it's pretty hot here, so we're just going to be hanging out.
It's the same conversation I have with my like barber every time I get my haircut.
3 hours just of surface conversation.
How's the weather?
And so meanwhile, this one's like already in bed, asleep, and so
I have my little nightcap on.
So welcome. And I was actually listening to Park today, and so you I don't know if you remember this, but you obviously probably don't remember me, but we met like a long fucking time ago. You guys played here in Delaware at the Harmony Grange. And I don't remember.
That answers one question. My kid was like, "Did you guys ever play in Rhode Island or in Delaware?" And I was just like,
you
I think
did.
So.
You
I was like, I
did.
think so, And he was just like, "Can you do you have a list?" I'm like, "I have a list of shows." I was like, "But I don't know where they're at." I was like, "But that sounds familiar." So I'm glad that you confirmed it.
So I was I actually had up the concert archives from this place, and Eric was like, "You're not going to find that." I was like, "No, I'm going to fucking find this show." And it was either with, I can't remember if it was with Tokyo Rose or Socratic. I don't know if you were playing shows with, I know you guys play with Tokyo Rose a lot, but it had to have been like, 2006, 2007 maybe?
Okay, so I got our entire list of shows pulled up, and it stops at 2003.
Okay.
And I was looking at it before I joined. I was like, why does it stop at 2003? And actually, you know what? Wait, I have another list here. What month do you think it was?
Oh, fuck, man. All right. So I'm going to say,
pouring over the record books.
Let's say July, maybe.
What was the name of the place?
The Harmony Grange, and it was in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm trying to pull up to
Harmony Grange.
And the only reason why I remember that show is because that was the first time I ever heard you guys. And I was like, this band is the shit. So like that's actually what kind of, and I can't remember, dude, the Harmony Grange used to be one of those places where like everyone came through. So trying to remember, like, that's actually where I met Eric's wife.
No, my wife would, we think that she spent a lot of time in the parking lot of the Harmony Grange. So there's a lot of people that might have met her back then. She was not my wife.
That's where we all met Eric's wife.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was like 8th in line. No.
I can't remember.
You think we played with Socratic?
Did you guys do any shows with Socratic?
We did, yeah. We did a bunch of East Coast shows with them, and they're all kind of blurry because I think we were all hitting the sauce pretty hard.
Yep.
But
I just remember, I can't remember who it was in the band, but one of you were out like smoking a cigarette, leaned against a railing, and I was like, that's what I want to grow up and do, like play concerts and smoke, man.
Oh god. It might have been me. I don't know when I quit smoking, 2007 or so.
Well, good for you, man, for stopping the
It was tough, dude.
Way to be a quitter.
I cried myself to sleep a few nights on that shit. And it was funny, the way I quit, I used the patch, and I would go home. And I can't remember how the program worked. 6 weeks of like 21 milligrams, 4 weeks of 14, and then 2 weeks of 7. But I lived in this crappy apartment, so I put a patch on, and then to mark it, I'd put it on my closet door. And so you're supposed to throw these things away because they're medicine. And if
Right.
like an animal gets them, it can really hurt him, or a little
Yeah.
kid, they're
Yeah.
dangerous. I had them all like how like a fighter pilot ace would have, like all across.
A badge of honor.
Yeah, and then I went to my doctor, and I think I'd been like on the patch for like, I don't know, 2 weeks. He's like, "How's it going?" And he'd been my doctor for like, I don't know, ever since I was like 10. And he was like taking rubbing my shoulder, and I was like, "What is he doing?" And I was like, "What are you doing with the rubbing?" He goes, "Oh, these are transdermal." I'm like, "I have zero clue what that means." He goes, "You get stressed, your body temperature rises, you release nicotine." And he goes, "So if you want to hit, just rub it." And so I'm walking around for the next like 3 weeks, just rubbing my shoulder, just like, I need more. But
it's like when you're like in the hospital and have surgery and you're hitting the morphine pump is locked, but you're sitting there just spamming it, trying to like, come on, like give me a little more. Okay, so I'm curious about the nicotine patches, right? Like it's always either cold turkey, the nicotine patch, or the gum. I feel like is kind of like
I couldn't do the gum. The gum was nasty. It was horrible.
Was it?
It was
cigarette
so
flavored.
Well, I'd like put a piece of gum in and be like, "Fuck it," and I'd be smoking a cigarette, and then I'd be like, overdosing from nicotine. But the patch, like what they don't tell you is, they're almost impossible to get off. Well, I won't say impossible. They hurt. If you put it on and you decide like half an hour later, I don't want this on, it's gonna the shit I had took skin with it.
Oh, wow.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it was hardcore. But when you put it on, in like 20 minutes, you were like flying high. You were like, woo! It was like you just like mainline 10 freaking Mountain Dews. And so I love the patch. I didn't want to give it up. I was like, maybe I could just keep wearing the 7 milligrams forever and it'll be fine.
Wow, I'm trying to get started on the patch now.
Wait a minute.
I don't
might
even smoke.
Actually, I don't like smoking. I might just patch it up like on a
Dude, I
Saturday
loved it.
night.
I loved the patch. It made me feel, I was so happy.
Well, we were talking about that too, and I think I was talking to like my mom, and I feel like now people don't really like. I feel like smoking cigarettes, it's still there, but it's definitely starting to kind of die out a little bit because now everyone's vaping. Like I feel like I see more people vaping their fat clouds of cotton candy and then getting the popcorn lung. It's like, get lung cancer and smoke cigarettes like the rest of us
the
used to do.
old-fashioned way, just the nasty freaking nicotine breath smelling shit. My wife quit after me, and she would like go outside to smoke, come back in, and then try to kiss me, and I'd be like, and she'd be like, "What?" And I'd be like, "It really
it's bad."
smells." I'm like, "It's really, really bad."
What was the drug that people would take to stop smoking?
There's a few of them, and I can't remember what they are, but
don't they like give you like really like fucked up lucid dreams and shit? Like I heard it's like a trip.
I don't know what the patch does. You fall asleep with the patch on. Have fun, buddy. Holy shit.
My wife's roommates, when she was in college, they were smoking, and they were like, "All right, we got to be done with this. We got to grow up and stop smoking." So they were taking it. They had like suicidal thoughts or like homicidal thoughts while they were dreaming.
I think Wellbutrin is one of them. They're all like antidepressants or like low grade antidepressants, I think. But yeah, like I said, you fall asleep with that patch on, man. You're like, it's like you're drinking absinthe while you're sleeping.
It's floating.
It's crazy.
But it's even better if you have somebody rub it while you're sleeping.
Yeah, right. You're really getting a little something. But like, I mean, so it always used to be like, all right, here's what you do. You get like cigarettes in Delaware, then you take them over to the state line, over the state lines to like New York, and you'd sell them for a lot of money. But like cigarettes now in Delaware are like almost $15 a pack.
They're expensive here. I'm in central Illinois, and it's like $11 or $12. And I used to smoke. There's this pack of cigarettes. I was behind this guy one time at this really crappy, like, not safe gas station.
Yep, always.
And he asked for cigarettes. I couldn't remember what he said, and the guy just goes $1. And this is probably like in 2001, 2000. And I was like, $1? And the guy walks out, and I was like, "Hey man, what did he get?" He goes, "He got a pack of smokes." And I was like, "What kind of cigarettes?" He goes, "Quality Smokes." And I'm like, "That's the brand?" He goes, "Yep." And I was like, "Give me one of those." It was $1. It just said Quality Smokes on it. And I started smoking those until the price went up to $2, but they were consistently like 70% cheaper than everything. But when I quit smoking, I think cigarettes were like $5 a pack, $5-6 a pack.
It's crazy though too, because like a carton is what you save a little bit of money buying in bulk or
You
whatever.
just got to commit to smoking a lot of cigarettes, which I guess if you're going to buy a pack, you might as well buy a carton.
Because a carton is what, 10 packs? And that's all, if you smoke 2 packs a day, that's only what, 5 fucking days? That's asinine.
2 packs a day is a lot, man. I only did that a few times and I was like dying.
Is that a lot of
I think that's 40 fucking cigarettes. That's a lot, man. But I remember when I was a kid, I loved Jawbreaker. They were like one of my favorite bands. And they had that song Chesterfield King. And I was like, I'm going to go get some Chesterfields. And, and I remember I got the pack and I opened it up and I was like, some dipshit put these in upside down. And then I pulled them out. I was like, oh, there's no filter on these. And I was like, whatever. If it's good enough for Blake and fucking Jawbreaker, good enough for me. And I smoked like maybe 5 of those. And then I was like, I'm getting fucking cancer just smoking these. I don't know how people ever smoked.
My grandpa smoked the unfiltered cigarettes, and it eventually ended up killing him, but like he smoked like 2-3 packs of those motherfuckers a day. I remember going over there as a kid and it was just, you couldn't see anything, and he would just be down in his basement fucking chain smoking all the time.
Hazy room.
Yeah.
Was he smoking Camels?
I'm sure, or no, what's the other brand?
Marlboro?
Yeah, the Reds. Are they the ones with the red band or Palm? Like, right. They're all so fantastic.
But tell me this: I've never been like driving down the road and seen somebody that I would call like a sheepish driver smoking a cigarette. I don't think that people that aren't cool smoke cigarettes.
You think you have to be cool to smoke?
I think you have to be kind of cool to smoke cigarettes. I've never seen like some like nerd, like one of the characters from Stranger Things, like from the season 1. I know they're kids, but kids smoke all the time. They don't look like they would smoke cigarettes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't think so.
But like anybody can vape. I would not be surprised if I saw any of those kids vaping, right?
Well, the thing is with vaping, though, I feel like it doesn't leave an odor, so you can do it wherever. But also, like, when I was in school, smoking cigarettes and smoking weed in school, like weed especially, would automatically get you expelled. And the cops would get called and you would get kicked the fuck out. And, like, so, like my wife is a teacher, and if they are caught smoking weed, it's a 1-day suspension. That's fucking crazy to me. Like, it used to be automatic expulsion, and your parents would beat your ass and you would get arrested. But like, you can do all that shit inside now. And like, if I don't vape, but if I was vaping right now, like, you wouldn't even be able to smell it. Like, the odor is non-existent. But you don't know. I guess there's not enough research. Like, if you smoke enough, statistically, you're probably going to die or get some sort of sickness or illness or whatever. Vaping, probably the same fucking thing, right? I mean, I don't know.
Probably, but I will be super surprised if I don't get any sort of lung disease from how many cigarettes I smoked. But when you were saying the kid got suspended for a week, in high school, we had this project where you had to get insects, and show them to your fucking teacher.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to do it like 2 weeks prior, let the insects dry out. I did it the day before. It was like, here, and I like handed in these juicy, fat fucking, praying mantis and shit. And then I put them in my locker. And then like 2 weeks later, the fucking security, hey man, we need you to open your locker. I'm like, why? Like, we think you have weed in there. And I'm like, and automatically I go, nope, there's no weed in there. It's in the car. I fucking checked that one. And they're like, well, we still think there's weed in the car, or weed in the locker. So I'm walking down there. I'm like, all right. And I'm like, don't you guys have keys to all the lockers?
Yeah,
like,
right.
And just do that. And I was so sure that there was nothing in there. And then you start, screwing with your own head, and you're like, did I put weed in here?
Is there weed in there? Yeah.
And I do the thing, and right when I'm standing outside, I'm like, God damn, this smells. And I open it, and all 3 of us are like, oh God. And it's the freaking cigar box full of the fucking dead insects.
Oh, yeah.
Just like,
They were finally dried out, though.
So, I guess so.
You were dry aging them.
Yeah, right.
The security guards just walked away. And I was just like, you guys don't want to see this shit?
Yeah, here, look. So, what I was an idiot with like drugs in school, and I used to buy it in science class. And I would have the
actual class
in the class, and the dude
because the science teacher never cares.
Yeah, right. It was Mr. Shatley.
8, and they just throw the joint.
Yeah, right. Thanks. No. So like, I would buy it, and the dude would throw it across the table, which was stupid in itself. But then I would take my CD player, and I would turn it around, take the batteries out, put it in the battery compartment, and then lay the batteries on top. and I never got caught. Like, that was how I used to hide my weed in school. And like, how stupid that was, but like, that's how we did it. And
I don't know if you could do that nowadays because the shit's so strong, and it's like
you would
like
smell
you go
it.
to the dispensary and they just have like a little bit of flour. It's like, fuck, man, that is horrible. But the stuff we smoke was so crappy. And I can't remember what I was telling the other day, but I was like, half the fun of smoking weed was seeing if you could find it.
Right.
And then you're like, hey, we found some. And then it was just like a gamble. You're like, it might be good, it might be bad, it might have something else in it. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I had shit like you would get like the best high, or your shit was laced with like PCP, and
Dude,
you'd
that
end up
happened
on
to
the
me
floor.
once, and that was horrible.
Horrible.
That was one of the things that I was like, I think I'm done with this because
Yeah.
I went to a pep rally after it, and I was just like, this is not normal. Things are out of control. And I didn't say anything to anyone for like years. And then I just had like a couple buddies from high school over, and we all were like, hey, do you remember that weed we got in like junior year? Like, yeah, they're like, was that fucked up? And we all were like, dude, there was something else. I'm like, how come we've held that
You've
in
all
for 30 years?
yeah,
and we're just now talking about it.
You all
We
took
thought-
that journey by yourselves.
Yeah.
Apparently, but it was one of the things where I was like, maybe I should rethink doing drugs because this is horrible.
Well, and that's the type of like high I feel like when you end up like at the hospital because you're like, I think I'm legitimately fucking dying.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to Shay. She had a boyfriend that would not take her to the Grange. Different boyfriend. she had a boyfriend who would always get her drugs, and then they broke up. So then like the next week she was like, well, I'm going to do drugs by myself. Bought it from some guy that she like kind of peripherally knew.
That she met at
laced
the
with
Grange.
PCP. You probably met him at the Grange. Laced with PCP, and she got so high, and her friends didn't want to take her to the hospital, but she begged to go to the hospital. And then she didn't smoke weed again for a really, really, really long time. Or maybe she still doesn't smoke weed at all. Well, she doesn't right now. I think she did it one more time. But then I met her, never having smoked weed myself in my entire life. And she forbade me from smoking weed. And I was like, I don't smoke weed anyway. I did later in life. I felt some type of way about that. How she told me I couldn't do it after she had done it so much.
Well, I feel like, or it's like the ex-smoker saying like, I don't want to be with somebody who smokes. Like I can see both sides of it. I'll tell you, being able to go to a dispensary and get weed that isn't going to fucking destroy you is awesome.
Yeah.
It makes me happy because I do like I love getting high. I really do. It helps me sleep. It helps me. I get fucking kidney stones all the time. It helps me with that. I get migraines. It helps me with that. Like I'm here for it. I'm an advocate, but I think you have to be smart about like I'm not going to get high and go get in my car and drive around. Like I used to do that shit as a kid, but like not anymore. Like I know now that I have kids and I have a job, like that's stupid to do, but being able to go 10 miles down the street and know that you're going to not have the PCP experience.
Yeah.
Makes me feel good.
Yeah. It's nice having that option where you can just go into the dispensary, just flip it over and go, this has 28%. This is me. This is my style right here. But I always treat weed like I have a pen that I use like in I got sick with the flu. I don't smoke weed very much, but I got sick with stomach flu, and like I don't know if you guys have kids or not, but I had not had stomach flu for like 15 fucking years. And then I have kids, and it's like every single year I have stomach flu.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really, really bad. And my wife's like, dude, just take fucking pulls off your pen. You'll be fine. I'm like, all right. So I take this like jean jacket rip off my fucking pen, at like 2 a.m, and then I'm still throwing up, but it's taking forever. Like I'm like, this is lasting so long. How long have I been in the bathroom? And it's like, 20 seconds.
Yeah,
But it's
right.
that weird weed time warp where like it's got to be like 4 hours, and it's like, no. And so it just made the barfing last that much longer. And then I was laying on my bed looking at the ceiling, like, how do they make popcorn ceiling?
Yeah, so now you're fucking asking, the existential fucking questions, and you're still sick as fuck.
And you're still sick, yeah.
From the perspective of the porcelain throne.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was funny when I was throwing up. We got a bidet, and I had my head in the thing, and I was like, I wonder if the bidet will like, work. And like, I didn't do it, but I had that thought while I was going. I was like,
it could
what if
be
they
like
just,
a water
wash-
fountain, like
Yeah,
a spring water
exactly.
fountain.
Yeah, but
Have you ever
but
shot your Greg? We have bidets, each of us,
they're
and
the best thing ever. That is
Oh my
like
God.
they're
that
amazing.
is like
What is toilet paper?
my brother-in-law who lived in Japan for a long time. He came back and he's like, you guys don't have bidets? And I'm just like, that's disgusting. And then I used his. I was like, bro, I've been living a fucking lie.
Yep.
I was like,
Yep.
this is amazing. And then if I go like on a trip for work, I'm like, I guess my ass is just going to be ripped up for fucking
Yep.
3 days.
Well, right. Like, it's like I will burn an entire roll of toilet paper in one go.
Yeah, Greg doesn't stop until it hits red, like
Yeah, I
a
just
red
keep-
light.
Keep going until a fucking brown fucking marker.
It's like if wiping a brown crayon. Yeah,
But like we got the Tushy off Amazon, and I mean I think all Amazon bidets are the same thing. Like we don't have like a toilet that also has the bidet. Like I just kind of plumbed
you
it
install
in.
the
Yeah, yeah.
aftermarket
Yeah,
bidet.
And dude, it's a fucking game changer. I love it so much.
Is it heated water?
So in our
Mine's not.
townhome it was because the sink was right next to the toilet, but in our new house the sink is too far away. So
Okay.
I can't so I have to use cold water like a fucking peasant.
Yeah, it just wakes me up. It's my alarm.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I know
I'm
that
I'm not even
our-
shitting.
Ours lasts for 45 seconds because I count every time like a 45 seconds of hot, awesome water. And then it turns cold and I'm just like, oh,
Ooh.
man.
Yeah,
It's like,
that'll-
game over. But
What's the like the regen time on the hotness? Do you got is there like a cool
you can control it on ours.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I have it set to, it's funny because me and my wife have different settings and her setting for cleaning is like, I call it the glass cutting mode. I'm like, dude, you like have that shit. I'm like, freaking 100%. And I'm like a 30% guy, you know?
Pressure washing your asshole.
Oh my gosh. It's like, and you know what's funny is when you walk in on someone using the bidet, 'cause they're like doing the rock there. What's
Yeah,
up? What are you doing?
Got to hit all the spots.
Yeah.
you got to get it just
I
right.
had several friends come over. I'm like, dude, if you don't have, just go freshen up. I'm like, use it. It's the most amazing thing. And they're like, I don't know. I'm kind of weird about it. I'm like, you won't be after you use it. I'm like, it's
Mhm.
fucking awesome. And I had a friend go in there and he was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like,
Well,
Just here.
that's all I heard. And he was just like, dude, those, and I was like, dude, they're amazing. And mine has a little blower on it where you can like
oh my
heat
god.
dry your butt. But
Wow, you
I
got
never
the
used
top
that.
tier. That's some top tier bidet.
we did. We got our whole bathroom redone. And I was like, let's just, you're spending like a gazillion goddamn dollars. I'm like, what's,
Let's
another
live a little bit.
couple $100 and we'll get the nice bidet.
My wife was like super anti bidet for a while because she was like, I just don't want to use something that you shit on. I was like, I don't think you quite understand how bidets work. I'm
Oh,
not
you're
shitting
using
on
it
the
wrong.
bidet. Yeah, you're right. And so
Unless
she
you're real talented. I mean,
yeah, right. Because it does have the little knob where you can like kind of adjust. I think it kind of puts some elevation, some leverage on it. But like no one's shitting on a bidet. And it also gets clean. Like when I clean the toilet, I also clean the bidet. Like I'll spray the little nozzle with the little bleachy water or whatever the cleaner is. Like I do clean it, and it has a rinse setting, so you can rinse it off.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, when I first got it, and then you hit the knob, not realizing it sprays. I mean, if you're like,
ours,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think you have to be like on it for it to like engage.
oh wow,
But-
yeah, that
But I
is
think
top
I've
tier.
like I've put my foot on it before. I'm like hanging a picture or something. I hear it click, and I'm like, oh, I should break it off because it's gonna like
Safety's
start
off.
spraying. So,
It's gonna blow a hole through your
the
head.
plumber who put it on said that he was like sitting on it and didn't realize it was on, and then it sprayed him in the ass. So he came out with like wet ass, and I was like, "Did it get you?" He goes, "Yeah, I didn't know." He goes, "I didn't know it was all hooked up, man." He goes,
But it works.
Yeah. So
So
this is not where I imagined this going, but
yeah, all right. So
neither.
weed and bidets, bro.
I'm gonna get stoned tonight
Weeds,
and go sit on my
cigarettes,
bidet.
and bidets. But you know what? When we had so I think our last true Q&A interview style was with William Hung from American Idol, and I don't think we would ever be talking to William Hung about bidets and cigarettes and weed, man. So
But he might have wanted to talk about it.
maybe. So see that it all full circle.
you just needed an N. You just
That
needed
was-
like
That was it. All right. I want to backpedal a little bit. So Park, you guys are still. We had Tokyo Rose on Ryan from Tokyo Rose. What, Eric? A couple months ago at this point, a
Yes.
month ago,
I think in
and
October.
he said that. I think he said that they were flying out to do a show with you and maybe the junior varsity. And so do you guys still play with them? It seems like a lot of the shows, like it seems to be like not the same like bands together, but it kind of seems like you do play a lot of shows with them still. Is that the case, or is that just kind of coincidence?
Back in the day, we played with Junior Varsity all the time because we were A, we just knew each other, and B, we'd always gone to each other's shows, and we were just friends. So it's just, that's kind of how you that's usually your first choice of playing, with bands. Like, hey, I like your band, you like us, we're all buddies, so let's do it. So back in the day, we played around a lot together, and then these shows came up, and it just seemed like, the natural thing to do. And we hadn't played together in so long. And it was funny because it was one of those situations, because like, when did we do the shows? In November. And it was like, hey, we're doing 3 days. Like in the summertime, I think we booked the shows. So it was like, hey, we're doing 3 days in a row with Tokyo Rose in Junior Varsity. I'm like, okay, cool. And then as it got closer, I was like, is this a good idea? Can I do 3 days in a row? And I'm thinking like, we used to do like months at a time.
Yeah.
And I kept telling my wife, I was like, I think this is a bad idea. And she's like, why? I'm like, I don't think my voice is going to hold up, man. So I actually made the set list, and the guys were like, these are not songs we play all the time. I'm like, these are the easy songs.
Yeah, right.
So if you want me to last the whole time, we got to do some easy songs. But no, we always had real, fun time with those guys. It's kind of like, a mock high school reunion, where it's like, we could not see them for, years and years, and we get back together. It's just like, hey, how's it going? And even the case with Tokyo Rose, we hadn't seen those guys in a long, long time. And it was, just business as usual. And like we'd, had never stopped touring or whatnot. So, and I think we did 2 or 3 tours with Tokyo Rose. But yeah, the shows were really fun. I was not nearly as tired as I thought I was going to be, for some odd reason. It's funny, back in the day when we'd wake up after a show, it's like, are you hungover? Can you do? Yeah, I'm all right, And this was, hey man, how much sleep did you get last? Did you get more than 2 hours? Yeah, I got 4 hours of sleep. That's awesome. Yeah,
I feel rested.
Better than being hungover.
I mean,
there's no hungover. I don't really drink a whole lot anymore, but I don't know how I used to do that. Because I remember we played one show with Armor for Sleep, and the night before we played in El Paso, Texas, and we went across the border and got tequila, mezcal, and I drank a whole bottle. I should have fucking died. And the next night I was like playing and just sweating, and I was probably, I don't know, 24. And I still think this is horrible. This is the worst decision I ever made in my life, And I remember like laying underneath the merch table after we played, just like feeling so miserable. And I don't think I've drank tequila since then. But now, like knowing, like, now when we play, I'm just like, if I have a beer, I'm just like, oh, I'm tired and I want to go to sleep.
Right.
So,
and I feel like that's like super common now. Like, and I don't think like people who come to see like bands play realize like what goes into it, and especially as like everyone gets older, how much harder it becomes. But like the alcohol, because like you think of like a rock band, like especially growing up, drugs, you drinking, and a lot of the younger bands are doing that, but like it sounds like that is 100% not the fucking look. Like that is like so bad for you, and
it's not sustainable.
No, well, and you look at like all of like who is it, Derek from Sum 41, who ended up almost fucking dying. But like, how many people do fucking die? And like, or like you party really hard and then you're just a potato the rest of your life, Yeah. And I don't know how like the thought now of getting piss drunk and then like drinking until 4 o'clock and then waking up at 5 or 6 makes me want to die. Like the thought of that makes me actually want to die. I think Eric could do it.
I'm close to doing it. I'm blessed with the 0 hangover perk.
Some people get that.
It's crazy.
But the lack of sleep, the older I get, the lack of sleep hits me harder than anything else.
Okay, but let's backpedal. So if I get a hangover, migraine, and I'm throwing up all day, Eric, your hangover is like, oh, I woke up, I was kind of thirsty. Like, dog,
really,
that's not
really
a real
thirsty. It may be lethargic because I stayed up so late drinking, but yeah, that's it.
But like, you don't get like a stomach ache, you don't want to vomit, your head isn't pounding.
Nope.
Just
fortunate.
Crazy.
Yeah. But I can't drink that. I can't do like shots or I'll throw up.
Nope.
And so like that's my like the negative thing. It's when I pour over. That's probably why I don't get hungover, because I don't drink so much that I guess I get that I would be hungover, or I'll throw up first.
There's a scene in is it Horrible Bosses, and what's his name, Jason Bateman, like Kevin Spacey gives him the drink and he's like, oh well, obviously I'm not going to pour this back in the bottle. It's a 20-year-old scotch or whatever, and he chugs it, and like just the thought of doing that, and he's like gagging and coughing, makes me want to throw up. Or like when I see people drinking a ton, even in like Peacemaker, there's a scene where they're all getting pissed drunk, and I'm like, that makes me want to fucking die.
What's the stuff that people are drinking? It's like, Malort. Have you guys ever had Malort or heard of Malort?
Is that a Chicago thing?
It might be.
Malort.
Let me see. I saw some. It's a liquor. Malort. Jepson's Malort.
It sounds like you shouldn't be drinking it.
Yeah, right. Is that like Four Locos?
The Chicago.
A traditional wormwood-based digestive.
That means it tastes like shit.
What does that even mean?
Famously bitter Swedish schnapps.
So that's a drink for like people who, I think there's a couple different types of drinkers. People like, they drink and like, this tastes like shit, but it's all supposed to taste like shit and whatever. And there's people who are like, I've developed a taste for this, and they drink it and they're like, oh, this is good. And they can, I'm like, dude, it just tastes like Windex. You're drinking Windex and you're trying to make yourself think it's like good. And like the new beers they have are like a gazillion% alcohol, and they taste like a bag of weed smells. And it's just like, I don't want that. The ex guitar player from Park, Justin, he actually started the band. I'll go over to his house and I'm like, what you drinking? He's like, a Miller 64s. I'm like, what is that? And he goes, it's like a baby beer. He goes, it's like what they used to drink back in like the Revolutionary War days. You can drink this shit all day. And I'll drink like 4 of those. And I'm like, I just have to pee. That's all.
Yeah, right. And I love that because like I do like the taste of like a light beer. I think it's, especially if I'm like, I don't know, like eating wings or like I'm cool with that. But like,
it doesn't fill you up and you're not all overstuffed. Yeah.
Like chugging like a 24-ounce like
IPA.
Space Dust IPA. Oh my God. Even like a 60-minute Dogfish Head makes me like, the thought of drinking an IPA now, I can't
I love
do
IPAs.
it.
The more better, the better.
Nope.
Fucking love them.
Nope.
I think that's what that does. It's almost kind of like a heat thing. Like people who are really addicted to like hot stuff, they just want hotter stuff. And people who like the really hoppy beers and the IPAs just like want more taste.
Hops.
Yeah. Give me more of the thing that's judged to be disgusting.
But I think it's like, okay, if you go to a place and they have like a wing, like, oh, well, do you want like hot? Or do you want like suicide sauce? And you just have something to prove at that point, because the sauce isn't good. I'm willing to bet that sauce tastes like absolute dick cheese.
Mm-hmm.
But
somebody's going to do it.
But someone's doing it just to prove a fucking point.
Greg and I went to a chicken sandwich joint on Saturday.
Yeah,
over the weekend. And the lady, we go in there and we're like, hey, what's the look? Like, do people buy, what's the most popular? She's like, oh, the sandwiches are really popular. And I said, okay, I'll have one with the hot sauce. And she goes, oh, are you sure you like spicy foods? And I was like, yeah, hot. I like hot. She said, and then we were like getting it. I think she was Spanish or something. And we were like, oh, well, is it like white person hot or is it like you're hot? And she was like, it's too hot for me. And we were like, all right, well, we'll still just try the hot. It was really hot, Greg. I didn't tell you. I felt terrible. Like I had a match lit in my belly all night long.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, so I started like tears were pouring down my face, which is because normally I used to be able to out heat Eric. Then I started taking GLP-1 and for whatever reason, I can't do heat anymore. And so it was to the point where like the taste was really good, but every bite was just fucking.
You were just sweating,
and to me that's not enjoyable. Like I couldn't do the hot ones challenge. Like I think I
wouldn't be able to do that,
right? Yeah. And they all obviously struggle through it, but like I just don't. I don't know, man. Like it gives me like just the thought of that gives me indigestion.
I had jalapeno pizza today for lunch, and I was like, me and my wife were eating. I was like, this is hot as fuck. She goes, yeah. And it was one of those things where like, as long as you're eating, it was fine. And then once you stop, it was like, oh. And so you're like eating more. And then like, I'm bald. So like, I'm just like sweating and it's like, I'm like, fuck, man. So I'm like sitting here wiping my head with bullshit Kleenex, just getting ripped up, trying to work. I'm like, this is fucking horrible. Why did I eat that? And then you fucking I'm gonna shit fire in like,
pretty
hours.
soon.
So it's like getting old is just fucking grand fun, It's awesome.
We had this guy on, if you're into watching people eat hot things, his name is Mike Jack. And he lives in Canada. And we met him at the the Philadelphia Hot Sauce Festival. And he has 18 Guinness World Records for eating the most amount of Carolina Reapers in the shortest amount of time. But he also has a lot of records for just drinking bottles and bottles of hot sauce. And so we were at this competition and we watched him eat however many Carolina Reapers. And then immediately after, proceeds to just puke everywhere. And so we asked him, we had him on the show and we're like, dude, I asked him, hey, is it safe in I think of esophageal cancer, eating all of that shit at once, that can't be good for you. He's like, well, my doctor he said it's probably fine and just asked me for an autograph. I was like, that didn't really answer the question though.
Yeah, thanks, doctor.
Yeah, right. Maybe you should see a different doctor, get a second opinion. But he's like, no, normally I'm just in the bathroom all the entire next day and you just throw up all day.
And his thing was, he said,
it didn't sound like the juice is worth the squeeze on that.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
He said that he would really train because he said the volume of peppers that he's eating is a lot of food to eat in a small period of time. So he had to train like a competitive eater, but then deal with the heat, the hot element of it.
Well, because he also holds the world record for the most amount of those one chip challenge chips that are they're almost like these blue chips in a wrapper, and he holds the record for eating the most amount of them in one sitting. And those motherfuckers, you watch anyone eat one, and it's just but then he ate 30 or 40 of them in one sitting. It's crazy to me. I have no interest in ever doing that, nor do I have the balls to do that, or the stomach. But it's crazy that people that's their shit. Someone woke up and said, you know what I want to do? Eat a lot of hot things in a really short amount of time.
Yeah, I don't know why people. I'm glad I don't have that want.
Yeah, right. That's not for us.
Yeah.
No. Okay, but also, you have a book that just came out.
I do. Yeah.
So can we chat about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What do you want to know?
So tell us about it. So I saw, I've been seeing a lot of posts that you've been making about it. So it came out October?
October, yeah.
Okay.
Is when I released it. Yeah, and it's what I'm interested to do. I'm gonna go on Amazon. Always takes your blurb and then puts it into a one sentence thing. So, all right. So what's it about? This is funny. A college volleyball star unravels when a mysterious book about her life appears, blurring reality and fiction as she struggles with pressure and strange visions. So I guess that's a good synopsis of it. But what's funny is when you're uploading all your stuff to Amazon KDP, they're like, did you use AI to make this? And I was like, no, but some people do, and they want their content to be clean, and that's completely understandable.
Mm-hmm.
But then they look at your blurb and they use AI to boil it down. And I'm
super catch-22.
I didn't write that description. But yeah, I think that's probably a good description of what it's about. But it really touches on the mental health side of the sport, and it's something that doesn't really get talked a whole lot about in the public eye, where these young athletes put so much fucking pressure on themselves, and they don't. We see these games, last night is a perfect example. The NCAA volleyball tournament was going on, and undefeated Nebraska was against this, I think 3 seed Texas A&M, who was not supposed to win. And Nebraska had just been fucking destroying people left and right. They had an undefeated season, and they ended up losing. And these, wonderful athletes, come off the court, and they're fucking upset, understandably so. And so I always, you see these trained, high performing athletes so well put together and composed. I asked the question, I was like, what's that look like when they start to come undone a little bit, because my wife had a similar experience when she was in college, where she went off to a Division II school, and things just didn't work out well for her at that school. So she ended up transferring, but we were friends at the time and had not started dating. When she would come back to town, I would just see her just in this diminished state, keep coming back. And I was just like, what's going on? And after she got finished her career, we always kept watching volleyball because it was on TV so seldomly. And I went to go find a book about, something that touched on that, where it showed an athlete just kind of crumbling from the inside, but looking all right from the outside. And I couldn't find one. So I was like, well, fuck it. I'll try to write one. And I spent the last, 5 years doing it. And I just kind of I was like, well, I want to see how much further I can get. I want to see how much further in the process I can get. And I just kept pushing myself. And it was a really interesting process, because there wasn't a book like that out there for volleyball. And it's weird, because I would tell friends, like, what are you writing a book about? Like, volleyball. They're like, volleyball. And I think if I would have said like curling or fucking field hockey, they would have been like, oh, all right, man, but
right
when
on.
volleyball, they're like, what the fuck? I'm like, well, I married a volleyball player, what I mean? Like, kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's been an interesting process, it's I'm not huge on social media. I just actually got off of social media for like a year. And then I talked to a friend of mine who was about a year in front of me in the publishing process. And she was like, you got to do it, dude. You got to just, unless, you're going to make it way harder on yourself if you're not going to do the social media thing. So so it's been a learning, it's been a learning experience. It's been a really good opportunity to connect with people that I wouldn't normally connect with. But it's a crazy process, and I'm glad I went through with it. And it's one of those things where you push yourself and you're like, wow, I got that far. I didn't think I'd actually ever get that far. And most people are like, it's interesting. I brought this up to my wife. I was like, you always want more than you have with this thing, especially like, and you can correlate it to a band as well too. Because when I was in a band, I was like, I want to learn how to play guitar. That's what I want to do. Then you learn how to play guitar. I want to play guitar with someone, and you find the person to play guitar with. And then you're like, I want to be in a band. Let's get in a band. I want to write songs. I want to be on tour. And then you want to put out an album, and then you want to be on a label, and then you want to be big. And it just never fucking stops. And you kind of have to stop sometime and go, dude, I'm doing all the things that I never thought I'd be able to do. And I think you have to sit with that and be like, that's, and just know that is enough. And there was the same thing with writing the book. People, want to see like, oh, I want to write a bestseller and do all this stuff. And I always ask myself, with the band and with being, hyper successful or whatnot, would that make you really happy? Would that really make you happy? Because I've seen people in the band world get really big. And that was one thing I was like, I don't want that. I do not want that at all, because that looks like that sucks.
Yeah.
And it changes you, and don't want anything to do with it at all. And if you can get to that point and have it not change you, fucking amen. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. But that was one thing that I knew if we ever got to the point of being a big band, I probably would have died from alcohol. But you always just keep kind of wanting more. And as I've gotten older, we just did these 4 songs with Cameron Webb, and we all just had the best time doing those. And I've never laughed so hard with, the band, because we were just, it was funny. We were recording, and Cameron has done all these big bands. And he's I'm in the vocal booth and I'm singing, and we're just making fun of the lyrics and just being stupid, and, being as professional as we can. And we're laughing about a line or something. I'm like, hey man, did you make fun of Lemmy when you were recording? He goes, no, I don't do. And I was like, well, what about Matt Ski? Would you make fun of his stuff? He goes, absolutely not. No.
Nope.
Just like,
no way.
Oh.
I am fair game. He goes, well, we're doing this together.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, you know what, dude? I'd rather be fun about it, because it's not, you ain't fucking saving lives. It's just a silly fucking rock song.
Have fun with it. Yeah.
I feel like that makes the best fucking music, though. Like, if it's just sincere and you're just having fun with it, like, that's the shit that I want to listen to.
We had so much fun recording those 4 songs. And it was like, Cameron's one of the type of people where we hadn't seen him since, oh my God, 2006. late 2006, and we all got up together. We picked him up from the airport, and it was just like, we just, hey, motherfucker, and it was just like we just left off, and it was super cool. And we've always just had a great time recording with him, and we didn't even have any other choices for people to record with, because we kind of were like, hey, let's just see if this happens and see if he's available. And he was like, fuck yeah, dude, let's do it. And we had, we were recording and we didn't know there was 2 tiers to the studio. We recorded at Electrical Audio in Chicago, Steve Albini's studio. And we knew there was another studio because we kept walking in there and like getting equipment and stuff. But there's an upstairs, and like the last day we were there, we were like, hey, let's go up there. And we walked up there, and there was a cappuccino machine. Cameron's like, can you make cappuccino? I was like, yeah, sure. So I make him cappuccino, and we're down there, and like half an hour later, he's like a fucking raving madman. He's like, so we're gonna put fucking, he found the percussion box. He's like, we're putting tambourines on this shit and fucking bongo drum and he just wouldn't shut up. And Miles goes, dude, what'd you fucking put in that coffee, bro? I'm like, I didn't do shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's game coffee. He's like fucking crazy. And so we let him put timpani drums on this one part. Well, and we're like, are we done with the drum thing now? He's like, it's gonna be awesome. And it's literally just boom, boom, like fucking hits. And I was like,
that little touch.
Yeah, just that little touch. Right.
So is that how that works? Like you bring someone in to like do the recording, and then you have to also find a studio? Like, is that all that's involved, or it does like?
It depends. I mean,
Yeah.
Cameron owns his own studio out in California called Maple, and we recorded a little bit there. But most of the experiences I've had, we rented a studio and then had Cameron come in, and then do it that way, which seemed to be the right way to do it. But here in the Midwest, like you'll say, and Electrical Audio worked this way too. They're real nice. I called 3 or 4 studios, like, hey, what's your day rate? And they're like, it's like X amount of dollars an hour. And I'm like, no, your day rate we want to be there the whole day. Like, yeah, it's X amount of dollars. I'm like, dude, I'm not paying that times 24.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, you should give us a deal. Like, no, that's the deal. I'm like, and then I called, just for shits and giggles, I called like 2 studios out in California. They're like, it's like, $1,000 a day, whatever it was. I was like, see, that's a fucking day rate. And
Right.
then I've called Electrical Audio, and they're like, yeah, dude, it's this. And I'm like, you're the only place in this area that works like that,
Interesting.
Well, and, Eric, do you remember the name? And you might know it too. Like out in Texas, that the dudes from Ninja Sex Party, Go Banana Go, Brian Weck, they recorded. There's like this studio out in Texas.
This guy's house.
It's like
right?
this. It's like a ranch, and apparently a bunch of bands have been through here. And
I forget what it is called.
Where is it at again?
It's in. Is it in El Paso?
Somewhere in Texas.
That doesn't narrow it down.
No.
Yeah. Does that help you any?
Texas was like one of those states where I'd fall asleep like on the east part of it and sleep 14 hours, and I went, where are we at?
Ranch.
Texas. Fuck.
Sonic
It's
Ranch.
called Sonic Ranch. Yeah.
Sonic Ranch. Okay.
And so apparently it's the same, like what you were saying, and where like they charge you by the hour because like they have a staff there, and like it's 3 a.m. and I need burritos made, and there's a chef making food at 3 a.m. But it sounds like it's like, didn't we look it up? It was like $10,000. It was some
because you're also staying there.
You also live there. Wow. Yeah, and I feel like that's the
some place
thing.
that the record label says, listen, motherfuckers, we need an album out of you in a week. We're going to put you up in this place, and you better crank us out some good shit.
But we visited some nice studios because we'd be out in California touring, and we'd go visit Cameron while we were just out and about. And I think he was at a studio called NRG out in LA, and we just went there just to kind of hang out and say hi for a minute. I can't remember who he was reporting, but we just walked through the lobby, and they had several different studios in here in the facility, but they had like the lobby was like pimped out. They had like huge screen TVs and every fucking video game system to play while you're waiting to go track. But I guess I always preferred places with a little bit more character. We recorded most of our albums at a place called Audio International in Ojai, California, which is a little teeny town.
I know someone from Ojai.
Ojai is a beautiful little town, and
they've got. You know who else is from Ojai? John Bernthal is from Ojai.
Really? Why do
The
you know that
Punisher?
random?
Because my friend Corey's from Ojai, and he said that he
Okay.
knows the high school that he went to. Also, fun fact: he has a vanity plate, or like a license plate, that says Ojai, and we couldn't figure out what it was, so he had a competition, and we decided that Ojai actually stands for something. It's Official Juicy Ass Inspector.
Well,
Sorry, but anyway, so
Hold
you're in
on.
Ojai.
Another fun fact, though, about John Bernthal, he used to work for Nicola Pizzeria or Nicola Pizza
Delaware?
here in Delaware. Yeah,
Really?
during the summer. So for whatever reason, people vacation to Rehoboth Beach in Delaware.
'Cause
And
Rehoboth
by
Beach
that,
is
I mean
awesome.
Oprah, Dave Grohl, and apparently John Bernthal. Dave Grohl is here every fucking summer religiously, though.
He is.
Knocking up women.
Our newspaper, God damn it, our newspaper does like Dave Grohl sightings. Where's he at?
Yep. And
Where in Delaware are you guys?
We're in North Delaware, but Rehoboth Beach is down in like all of the southern end of Delaware, which if
so
anybody
Delaware
that's
only has
listening,
3 counties.
Yeah.
We have Newcastle, Kent, and Sussex.
and it's from top to bottom 2 hours if you're driving slow, so there's not a whole lot to see.
So we're both in Newcastle County. We're about 30 minutes. I'm a little more south than Eric, but like I could hop in my car and be in that room that he's sitting in 25 minutes.
Come on over.
You know, so like it's small, and like that's why, like, I mean, growing up, like being younger, and when bands like Park or anyone would come through, like getting to the Grange was a 15-minute car ride, and you would get to see these bands for like $5. Like the tickets were always cheap as shit. So I don't know how you guys made money doing these shows, because like
I don't know. We if we got back from a tour and it was like, hey, here's $200 for everyone. It was like, wow,
we did it, boy. It was
like a month's worth of work, because most of the time it was just paying for, getting from one place to the next. But I think things were maybe a little more affordable back then than they are now. I mean, I saw it wasn't too long ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I saw a band. They had to have been a band because they were at the gas station, by my house, and they all piled out and with like ramen and just looked like shit. And I was like, fuck that. And I was like, that looks horrible. But I was like, how are they touring? I was like, gas is like $1 gazillion, a gallon. I was like, how are they doing this? But I mean, we did it, and it was, we made it work. And I don't even know if bands tour like
that anymore.
like
Do
that
they like just pile in a van with their gear and go? It sounds.
I don't know if they just do like, internet, promotion, and that's how they do it. Because when we did these 4 songs, we were like, well, how are we going to release them? And the more research we started doing, it was like bands really aren't doing CDs or full releases anymore. It's just like, here's a single, here's a single, here's a single. I was like, well, we could do that, or it's, we can figure something out. But I don't know how the bands sustain themselves on tour anymore.
Well, and like I know whenever I go to see a band, I always try to buy merch. Like, all right, like I'll buy a t-shirt or something, because I know that you're probably getting most of that money. But like, like 9 times out of 10, like I feel like they always just I don't want to say they seem miserable, but it just looks like they just look drained. It's just like, this has to suck ass,
It's tiring. I remember me and my wife were just dating, and she flew to Albuquerque, and we picked her up in Albuquerque and toured back from Albuquerque back to Central Illinois. And she was on tour with us for maybe 4 or 5 days. And I remember she said the worst thing in the van. She goes, man, I'm really tired. And all of us were just kind of looked at her like, we're fucking dying, And she goes, she was very nice, but she goes, I don't know how you guys do this shit. She goes, I'm not performing at all. I'm just along for the ride. She goes, but man, you guys got, and I think we'd been out for like a month at that point. And that's when we were drinking and smoke. I don't know how the fuck we did this. I know we were all young, because that's exactly how we did it. But
but like, it's crazy that like, I don't know, man. Like I know we were talking to Seth Trotter from The Hire, and he said what they used to do was Seth is the fucking shit, man.
Dude, I got my warm up vocal from him. He would walk around and he'd go, "Nice, it's nice," and I was like, "What are you doing with the nice shit?" He goes, "Oh, I'm doing my vocal warm ups." So I would make fun of him, and then I just never stopped, and so that's how I started doing my vocal warm ups.
And like, dude, his voice like was always just like it's like kind of that like angelic, like super high,
Sure,
like you
yeah.
know, and it was just always like so good. And when we had him on, and he was like, man, we used to. I think he said that they would start driving like right after they would play to the next place and
Mhm.
get like halfway there and pull over, maybe. So then that way they had more time in like the hotel room or something. I can't remember how he phrased, but he said like that.
So then you could be like in the hotel room, kind of ready, and not have to worry about driving the next morning and rushing to get there, and then something happening and you didn't
That
show up
makes
to the
sense,
show.
yeah. I
But
remember
it
we-
also
we did-
like
I think we did 2 tours with them, 1 or 2
Oh, yeah?
tours. Yeah.
yeah, and like I mean, he said it was fun, but same thing, and that's really, I mean, we had TJ on from Silver Mains, and it was like the same thing. Like, yeah, it's cool, but like, holy good god,
Sounds draining. It sounds
yeah.
draining. It's a lot of work.
Yep, I hope
It
you
is.
like eating like fucking dehydrated jerky and Taco Bell.
Yeah, and then you actually get real food at a venue that like when you have like we have like riders, but they're like, you know, I know it's like chips and salsa and you know shit like that. And I was in everyone in all these bands were always vegans. I was not, and they'd have like spreads every now and again. They'd be like, "Here's this food you can't eat." I'm like, I can eat all the things. I can eat whatever I want. And I'd be like, I'll eat the vegan food because it's really fucking good.
I'll eat everything, but I feel like that makes it even harder to be a vegan and a vegetarian on a tour because like
I wouldn't have been able to do it because I would be like, if I would have been like that, I know how hungry I was on tour. I'd be like, don't eat my shit because I can't eat your pizza bullshit, you know? But yeah, we were on tour with the Hire, and I can't remember the bass player's name. He always had one glove. It was like a Michael Jackson,
like the Michael Jackson thing. All right,
and he
I thought
didn't
you
have
were
any
gonna
money.
say OJ. Different glove.
He had the OJ thing going.
I can't remember his name, but I know the other guys: Seth, fucking Tom, Patrick. Fuck, who else was it?
One glove.
One glove, I guess. Yeah,
One,
OG.
they called him One Glove.
OG. Anyways, he didn't have any money, and we got to the venue, and you know you're on tour. Like you have to be at the venue at 2:00. It's like, all right, show don't start till 10, so it's like being in the fucking army. You're like just hanging out, you know. And we had nothing else to do, and he's like, I don't have any money. I'm like, dude. So we pulled together like $20, and we're like, if you eat that fucking cockroach, we'll give you this $20. So he's like, all right, I'll do it. And I got it on video, and he fucking eats it, and it's all over his face and shit. And then he's like, give me my money. And then like, I stopped the camera. 2 seconds later, the owner comes around. He's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, all right, eating a fucking cockroach. And he goes, so yeah, they just sprayed for bugs in here. Like day before yesterday. And I was like, oh, you just ate fucking infected.
The last $20 you ever get, my
And his
That's why you don't
face
remember his
just
name
dropped.
because
He's
he
like, fuck,
died.
man, really? I did that? And I was like, you didn't have to eat the fucking cockroach. Probably would have given you the $20. You know?
Yeah, right. If you wanted it. Well, I heard I can't remember the name of this dude, but he has a lot of people on, and he had Aaron from Under Oath on, and he was saying that like when they would get like their stipend or whatever, if you were smart with it, you would go and buy like a loaf of bread and like peanut butter and jelly. But like everyone else, you would just go to Taco Bell or McDonald's and just blow your load. But like he was like, what the smart guys, yeah, they'd get the loaf of bread for $1 or $2, and then that would feed them, and then they were able to pocket the remaining stipend. And I know stipends, it's a very rare, you know, but like, and apparently like $5 was the fucking, like, that was a lot of money per day on tour.
We would always get a stipend if we didn't get like if the venue didn't feed us. If they were like, you know, hey, we didn't get you pizza or chips and salt, whatever it was, or that, or we'd have a band meal afterwards with, you know, the money. But in Canada, it was like, you know, $5 was like $10. So we got $10. But what they don't tell you is sometimes here's your stipend, and it's fucking 5 toonies. You know, and you're like, what the fuck? And you put it in your pocket, you sit on some asshole's couch, you lose all your money. Because they don't have like dollar bills. At least they didn't have when I was the $1 coin and the $2 coins. And so you lose all your money, be like, fuck, I lost $10 sitting on this jackass's couch.
Well, right. And I feel like too, like, so would they, would you ever get paid in just like not money? It's like, here's just food and beer, like,
No,
or
I don't
would you?
remember,
Okay.
I don't remember
It's
that.
not like helping somebody move.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, right? Because like helping someone move, like I'm way too old. Oh, if you help me move, I'll give you a pizza and some beer. I'm good.
I'm not helping you move.
I'm not
for
helping you
pizza and
move.
beer.
Then
I remember a couple times that there was when we had, we were on a booking agency, and I felt really bad for this kid because he was probably like 14 or 15. Went through our booking agency, so it's contractually binding, but he's a minor, so he doesn't really have to fucking hold anything up. But we come there, and I don't think anyone showed up to the show, so it was still like, fuck you, pay us. The kid didn't have any money. He's like, I ain't money. And so we were like, bartering, like, do you got a microphone we can sell or something? It was like, I can't remember what we actually got from the kid, but I felt bad for him because it was like, I think it was like his first or second show he'd ever put on. And it was like, well, you're getting paid in wisdom, right?
Right.
Which sucked. But I think that was one of the only times I can really remember where it's like, we can't pay you. So, give us something of value we can go sell or something. Which sucks because, I don't think when you're in the situation where we were in, where we were touring, it was like, that was, this is how we're getting from place to place. And, that's just kind of, one of those things of how the touring world operates. But yeah, other than that, I can't think of any times when we was just like, here's a 6-pack,
yeah, right. Here's a Domino's small pizza.
What are the
I'm
guys
sure it
called?
probably happened and I'm just not remembering it, but
Sure.
I don't know. I was not the business guy in the band. It was just, show up here, help us load in and get on the fucking stage.
Yep.
What are the guys called where they play just on the side of the road, or they play on like the boardwalk?
Are they not buskers? Are they buskers? Buskers, yeah.
I think you're right.
I never heard that term before. They're actually playing though?
Yeah, they're you play music and they have a little hat.
But
street
like
performance.
half the times they're not actually playing. It's just like a recording.
I didn't. I'm so fucking slow and dumb that I always saw the dude outside Aldi where I go shopping playing the violin.
The violin, yep.
The violin is a good
killing
one.
it. And then one day I was like, stopped next to him and I was like, hey, that dude's not fucking playing. And my wife's like, you never knew that? And I'm like, no. She goes, you thought they were just busting that shit out? And I'm like, yeah. I was like,
nope.
I didn't know. I was like, I'm too trusting apparently or some shit.
Because they all we have the same one. Like at our it's got to be like an Aldi fucking
Aldi thing. They pair them. They pair Aldis with buskers and Planet Fitnesses.
Yeah, right. Like we have a guy here at this Aldi that fucking just shreds, and you're like, oh my god, it sounds so beautiful, but it's not them playing, and so people will post. We have this group here called like the MOT residence page, and people post on there like, stop giving this guy money, fuck him, he's not actually playing. It's like, yeah, you got to respect the hustle. He's still out there for like 8 hours pretending to play. So,
well, I was always like, shit, why didn't we do that?
I know, it's genius.
Just get up there and just lip
I'm
sync.
actually on Amazon right now buying a violin.
I have a CD player.
Catch me at the Aldi outside.
Little karaoke fucking machine.
Yep. But yeah, but we do have, well, I guess I don't really see a whole lot of like guitarists here in Delaware busking.
No, that's like
there's one guy that stands outside. He's actually a little bit down the Aldi, and he's actually playing because I always see him play in downtown Springfield, where I'm from. But he like has a loop pedal and gets all crazy and shit.
I love that.
And he's not the greatest guitar player, but he does some really interesting. Like I'll always stop, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I would have never thought to do that, But But I'm like, if I'd give that guy some fucking money because he's actually out there, doing some shit.
He's doing his thing.
Homeless Tom Morello.
He's not homeless. He's just doesn't have shit else to do.
Oh, okay.
He's just out there busting it out.
Would you give Tom Morello money if he was out there busking? Because he doesn't need it, but I probably would because it'd be really fucking cool.
I would
be
just
cool
go ask him a bunch of fucking questions about like, how do you do this and how'd you do this?
Keep feeding him $1. I assume he's there $4, right?
Did he ever whoop your ass in Guitar Hero? Because wasn't he?
I never played Guitar Hero. I couldn't play it because I'm like, when I first played, I'm like, this is nothing like fucking playing guitar. I'm like, people who are good at this they just buttons.
Yeah, that's very true.
Uh-huh.
But it's all like, did you ever see the videos of like the dude? and he's got like the world record on Guitar Hero for that Dragon Force song. Was it Through the Fire and the Flames? And he's playing it on like a bazillion speed. And this dude's like up here just fucking like just shredding this. It took him like 2 years. And like the focus, I don't have the focus to do what he did. It's obviously way different than playing real guitar, but like it's a different skill. It's a different skill, man.
It is.
Shout out to those guys. Fucking make it. And like there's money to be made in the the video gaming world. So these dudes are getting fucking paid for it as well. So
good for them.
Maybe I'm just salty that I'm not getting paid.
Kudos to them for figuring out the hustle.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us on a Monday. I know Mondays are always rough. So this is a nice wind down to a nice. Yeah,
it's one of my work remote days. So I'm like, it's my
same actually. Same.
Ease into the week.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, man.
That's
Appreciate
awesome.
it.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to Daddies the Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, drop a review, and give us a like. We'll see you next time.